Hey, what's up? What's up, y'all? Hello, moms. It's your girl, Sharita, the Behavior and Literacy Strategist, coming at you from the Morgan Unlimited Growth Institute, where you can find solutions for your child's behavior and literacy challenges. I got a good one for y'all today. Let me tell you, this is the hardest thing for moms to do, but we're going to talk about it today. Happy Sunday to you. We're doing a little Sunday cleaning. Dinner's almost ready. And one of my students from Las Vegas had a birthday yesterday, so me and my oldest daughter, we're going to give her a call, wish her a big happy birthday. That's my girl. That's my girl right there. That's my champion, okay? And she and my daughter are in the same class as well in my program. So we're going to represent. We're going to show us some love, send us some birthday love, see how her birthday went. So let's get into the topic, y'all. Leave the room when your child is doing homework. Leave the room. I know y'all about to turn me off. I know y'all about to be like, what are you talking about? Y'all ain't trying to hear it, but hear me out. All right, so what's the most important reason for you to leave the room when your child is doing homework? Well, you know, here we teach our children to function independently, right? But that's a given, of course. We already talk about that all the time. But the number one reason why you want your child to leave the room, you want to leave the room when your child is doing homework, welcome if you're just joining, is that they will, in the classroom, be able to sit and do their work by themselves without needing somebody standing or sitting right next to them, without using behavior to distract the class so that somebody can come over there and get them to sit down and do their work, to get them to help them, to do it for them, or to make it easier for them. A lot of our kids are doing this in the classroom. And I always say that the classroom is not a place for behavior, it's a place for learning, right? But the reality is a lot of teachers are in schools managing behavior and teaching at the same time. I understand that because I was a special education teacher, was a resource pull-out teacher, and at first I was a substitute teacher, permanent substitute teacher for a special education class for a year before I went on to become a resource teacher. So I understand what goes on in the classroom, y'all, okay? But I also was a mental health specialist before I went into teaching, and I help children improve their behavior, okay? So here we work on combining both at the same time. What you want your child to do is, when it's time for them to do their work, for them to be face-to-face with their work, take ownership and responsibility for their schoolwork, for their homework, and do it. Even if they think they might not get it right. Even if they worried about making mistakes. Okay, they will do it themselves. Even if they mess it up, they have to have time to sit down and look at their work themselves and do it without anybody around. This is why you need to leave the room, because kids, when mom is around, kids call you, of course, say I need help, or move around in the chair. They could be just sitting there waiting. A lot of moms don't realize this. They be just sitting there waiting for you to walk past so they can be messing with something instead of sitting down, because they want you to come into the room. Why do they want you to come to the room? They want you to come into the room. They want you to sit next to them. They want you to do it with them, or they want you to start hollering because you said something to them 1,000 times, it's not working. And they want you to keep hollering and keep getting frustrated and keep trying to get them to do their work until you what? Give up, and then just come in and do it for them. Sometimes mom do, or help them along, which is almost like doing for them. But guess what? In the end, they never have to be face to face with their own work. They never have to think. They never have to figure it out. They never have to do any of that. And what ends up happening is, if this works, kids continue to do these same things over and over and over. They do it at home with you. They do it in the classroom, with the teachers and the aides, right? And then this is now a behavior pattern. This is how I do. This is how I act every time it's time for me to do writing, or every time it's time for me to do any kind of independent work. This is how I act, okay? And the adults around are so used to helping. We give our kids way too much help, give our students way too much help. We're thinking about, what does he need? What does she need so that she could sit down and do her work? She has trouble sitting down. She has trouble focusing. She can't focus. She gets distracted very easily. In my program, we can't even use that word distracted. We don't play that mess. We don't talk like that, right? Or he gets very distracted very easily, and there's something wrong. He's not able to sit down and focus. She's not able to sit down and focus. So we need to help them. Nah. Well, instead of helping them and helping them to sit down, helping them to do their work, or moms at home are telling me that they're taking hours for their kids to do their work, and you doing the homework with them, it's taking hours still because they won't budge and they acting like they can't do it, they're crying and all this other stuff. All of that is not because your child cannot sit down. It's because your child doesn't have the expectation to sit down and do their work themselves. They haven't practiced it enough. They haven't been told no. And when I say no, like by you not coming into the room and sitting next to them, they have to sit by themselves and finally do it. They're thinking, if I continue to do this, or I continue to cry, or I continue to get distracted or move around and everything, mom will come. Moms, leave the room. When you leave the room, have something you're doing. And when you come back, to let your child know, put some standards, some structure in place, what you want to see. Okay? So when you do that, you take the responsibility off of yourself and you put it directly on your child. This is your work. This is what I want to see when I come back. Okay? And there's more to it than this, but this is a big tip right here. Okay? And I've helped many moms who had kids that were doing the same exact thing, acting up, crying, didn't want to do it, making it a big deal. For moms, it's hard for us because, you know, professionally for me, it's very easy to just be like, whatever, I know what they're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? And to stay on track and to stay consistent in what I'm doing. But as a mom, you hear, that's that same child that you had, that you gave birth to. And when they cried, you knew it was time to feed them. You knew it was time to change them. You knew it was time to nurse them. You knew it was time to hold them. You walked around with them and you know, kind of bounced them around so they could go to sleep. So you still have that in you. So when it's time for them to do something, it's their responsibility, their schoolwork. It's hard for you to just let them struggle through it and figure it out and learn and do better and stay on it when they over here crying the same cries that's been having you react as a mom for years. Take that part out and separate it and understand that that's your child's responsibility. They must sit down with you. If they're not sitting down with you and doing their work independently, even if they get it wrong first and then later on they learn how to edit their own mistakes, that's what I teach my students. That's what I teach my own kids, right? We equip them. I'm just talking about, and that's on the equipping them side. Right now I'm just talking about the structure, okay? If they don't do it with you, they're not doing it in a classroom, okay? If they're not sitting down and when it's time for them to do their work, they just get to work and start doing it. As soon as they sit down, they think you're supposed to be right next to them. As soon as it's time to sit down, they say, I need help. And what we got to do again? So my students can't ask me directions after I've given them. Listen the first time, okay? They ain't going to be repeating herself. Listen the first time. Pay attention, okay? Right? So if your child is not doing all that with you, then that means that when they're in the classroom, the teacher will give the instructions and the child will not be paying attention, or they will hear it and then they know that they're just going to ask for help anyway as soon as they finish. It's help time because I don't want to do this. Work with them at home so that when they're in the classroom, they have that structure, they develop that self-discipline. But when they are crying for you to stay and they want to pull you in as soon as it's time for them to do work, leave the room. Leave the room so that they look at it and figure it out themselves, okay? You got this, all right? Hope y'all having a great night. We're going to get back to all the stuff that's going on in the house, and we're going to give my girl a call, my student from Las Vegas. Right now it's 7:30 here, so it's 4:30 where she at. Okay, so we're gonna give her a call, wish her a big happy birthday. All right, I love y'all. Believe in yourself, believe in your child, and always remember that growth is unlimited. Okay, and for more information on my tutoring coaching program, on how to improve your child's behavior and literacy from home, go to growthinstitute.mykajabi.com. That's GROWTH institute.mykajabi.com, y'all. Or you can send me a direct message. All right, love y'all. Peace.